Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to The Lock Shop, presented by Play Alberta, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, which is also presented by Play Alberta. Adam Wanek in for Dustin Nielson today. Huss will join us in a little bit as we've got a couple big things to get to on the show today. Reminder, you could get in touch with us, Nasty Chat, inbox 780-218-9999. Also, just a shout out for everyone listening, whether it's on TuneIn, iHeart, on our website, or for those watching on YouTube, listening on podcast. We thank you very much for this. NHL 8 games as the NHL resumes tonight, including both the Edmonton Oilers, who are in Anaheim to take on the Ducks. The Jets are in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. So both those two teams are in action tonight. And then we got golf. I always going to screw up the name. Cognizant. I guess it's Cognizant. I guess that's not that bad. Cognizant Classic. It used to be the Honda Classic. Missed when it was a Honda Classic. That gets going. Not the biggest field, not the which actually makes it more fun sometimes. Where then it's just, okay, well, who's going to come out? Who's going to surprise? Although a couple names in this tournament do include Shane Lowry and Brooks Koepka in his third tournament back on the PGA Tour. So we'll get to that. I think we'll start with that once Huss comes on because I don't want to forget. I don't want to get completely lost in hockey and then forget to get to golf. So I think we'll start with the golf, get some of those bets out there. I've got some written down here for me. And then we'll move on to the National Hockey League where I've got, it's an interesting one. And I'm going to have to get Huss's take on this. I was sitting down. I was looking at Play Alberta's website. I was looking at all 8 games. And I had a tough time being like picking games because like I see the Avs taking on the Mammoth, but I'm like, okay, well, but are McCarr, are McKinnon, are Tays going to be playing? You know, the Stars, what's it going to look like without Rantanen in the lineup? And there's no Sagan. And also, it just feels like that start of a regular season where there's just, everyone's been off.
No hints, no Faxa.
For the Stars. But then it's the start of the season. You have those upsets that happen that you're not expecting because it's the start of the season. And it feels like it's the start of the season that I'm like, there's so many of them that I'm like, well, I honestly could see it going both ways, which doesn't help. But that's where I am with this one. I do have a couple I do feel kind of good on. But like, hey, Tampa just announced that John Cooper won't be on the bench tonight. He has to deal with a personal matter. It's just, you know, Vegas taking on the Kings. The Kings don't have Fiala. It's going to be the first game of Panarin. But how's that going to go? But the Golden Knights, who aren't going to be playing for the Golden Knights? Who's going to be there? Who's not going to be there? There's just so many different things that in my mind, I'm trying to grapple with this NHL. So I'm excited to get there with Huss as well a little bit. But those are the two big things. Duck Dad, this plays into. He has Juventus probable lineup updated to include Jonathan David starting. Official lineup should be up at the end of the show. Here's the thing. So at Play Alberta, EST Specials, we built that Screw It, Let's Do a parlay, which focused on the Champions League. It was Juventus to win today. We had Real Madrid, Benfica both to score. We had PSG, Monaco both to score. But then I also threw up a boosted Jonathan David scoring today number. They boosted that to plus money. I think it was plus 110 or something. You could still get that. That match doesn't start for a little, just under 2 hours. So he's starting tonight even. They're down 5-2 in aggregate. Juventus needs to score some goals. Jonathan David starting. Maybe we'll get some goals happening in that one. Let's bring him in from Winnipeg Sports Talk. It's Huss. Huss, how we doing on this Wednesday?
What's going on, Matty? Oh, I just finished the interview. I just realized my green screen's up. Well, we'll put that up.
It looks good.
You want to throw something in the background?
I don't know how to do that. I've seen Dusty do it, and and one day I came in to try to figure it out, and I actually need to sit down one day with Dusty and be like, how do we do that? Because I honestly don't have any clue.
I got lots of good backgrounds to it to have on it. I'm doing well. I'll be honest. I'm not particularly looking forward to WST today.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, it's oh God, we live in such a weird time. It feels like I'm actually living in a simulation, to be perfectly honest with you. Like one big Sims game where it's not too often you have a goaltender in a Canadian market that is the recipient of the what was it, the
Presidential Medal of Freedom?
Medal of Freedom.
Is that it's one of the highest honors you could get?
It's incredible honor, but obviously everything a certain person touches is this is not like most of the other ones that have been given out. I'll just say that. And in the aftermath of losing on Sunday, it's I can't believe I just want to get to the big game tonight between the 26th place Jets and the 32nd place Canucks and get on with it. But I already know that won't be possible. It's oh my God.
It's interesting. Like I brought it up on the hangout last hour. Ottawa's in town in Edmonton next Tuesday, I believe it is. Like, what response does a Brady Tkachuk get from here?
Oh.
I know there's a lot of Sens fans even right now. Like, and I don't expect there any to be booing of teams' own players, but when they go to other markets, what's going to happen? And it is going to be an interesting little thing. Like even somebody brought up Toronto. Do you do a thing if you're in Toronto for congratulations, Austin Matthews, on your gold medal? And if you do, okay, then how do you respond as Leafs fans that are Canadian fans? And take the politics out of that even. Just the fact that you lost to them. You don't want to lose to them. Do you just sit there quietly golf clap this? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be the same thing. I am so thankful that the Jets are on the road for the first 3 games coming out of the break. Like, I think people
calm the waters a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know that people's attention spans are short, and
something new will come up in the news cycle.
Yeah,
pushes things.
And listen, here's the thing. I mean, I think everyone, I'll just speak from my own personal standpoint. I mean, love Hellebuck. He's probably the best player that the Jets have ever had, certainly in the 2.0 era. Frankly, it's not close. And, while, I think we were all hoping that, the game would go the way that it went and Hellebuck played brilliantly, but Canada still won. And they didn't. He is the reason why the Americans stole that gold from us. And he's completely deserving of the accolades that he's getting. And I think people personally are really happy for a guy that has been so important to the team and the city and all that. And of course, given other options, decided to re-up and stay here long term. I mean, all of that is, a real positive on it. But unfortunately, and there's not really any way around it, everything gets so politicized. And you have the people on the real far, extreme on the on one side that are like, and again, like, take it for what it's worth. I mean, what we hear on social media isn't really real life for the most part, but there's a lot of people like, I'm done with this guy. I mean, because he received these awards, or they went and, they went to the White House. So it sucks. I mean, first and foremost, it sucks that we didn't win the damn gold medal. Yes. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but like Sunday, I was just sort of in a daze after the game. The Monday was not much better. It feels like I'd imagine, I'm lucky enough not to have any real personal tragedy or massive loss that I've experienced, but it's one of those things where it gets a bit better every day, but it feels like that. And then once you add in the stench of the politics of everything, it just becomes really contentious. And sports, the Olympics, like that's the sort of thing that really does, as much as anything, I think, on our society, legitimately bring everyone together. The aftermath of it is, has the potential to drive some people away and create fights and arguments and gong shows and live chats on YouTube streams. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to getting past it all. But it's been quite a scene for those guys the last 48, 72 hours.
I do want Oilers just announced they've recalled Matt Savoy from Bakersfield, so just a heads up on that one. They're taking on the Ducks tonight. I want to save hockey second.
Yeah.
But I want to get to some golf. Cognizant Classic. I don't know if you had a chance to be able to look at what's coming up this weekend. I kind of like these tournaments. We get our signature events where all the players are there. Love that from a viewing perspective. I love these ones where, there's not as many known quote unquote names in the field. And it opens things up to be like, there's no Scotty Scheffler where we're sitting there going, okay, well, what's Scotty going to do? Even though, he hasn't had that win yet, I don't believe, on the tour this year. That's what I like about these type of events, where it's okay. Well, who's that name that maybe is playing well that could come out and grab that PGA victory? And I've got a few names to win, and I've got a few things. I'm also just like in this one. I'll start with a bigger name here. I'm fascinated how Brooks Koepka performs. I'm fascinated. This will be his third event back on the PGA Tour. He hasn't exactly had a great start to his season, returning to the PGA. This is a course he's actually in the past has played well on at PGA National. I'm wondering if this is the turnaround for Brooks Koepka, and could we see maybe him snag a top 10? Is there a player for Brooks Koepka to get back on up there where the field isn't loaded with all sorts of names, and this is maybe one of those confidence situations for Brooks Koepka where he can go out on a course that I got to pull it up. He has a couple top 10s, I believe, at this course and at this tournament, which used to be the Honda. Now it's the Cognizant, I believe. So the Honda Classic, he was T2 back in 2019. He was T16 back in 22 when he was last there. So he's got a couple top 20s, including being right there second. I wonder if this is a situation where he finds a way to get his season going with a top 10 finish.
Yeah, well, and listen, Brooks isn't in a lot of the signature events, so events like this are really important for him. I'm with you on this. I'm really intrigued on Brooks's performance this week. He's back home in Florida, where he's from. I think this should be good. The one thing I think we need it's just important to note, they've changed this golf course a lot over the last couple of years. The Honda, 5 years ago was one of the most difficult tournaments, in just as far as relation to par. Now, and forgive me on this, they've overseeded it. It was Bermuda. I think
it's now Bermuda, I think.
Yeah. And they overseeded it. Bottom line is the course plays way easier now than it did before. I think the over-under on the winning score for this tournament is now, I think it's 16.5. In the past, you saw guys win at like 5 and 6 and 7 under. But for Brooks, I think that's actually a real positive. If he's not a little accurate, he's obviously always has the power and the strength to move the ball up. It probably ends up, guys that can be good with their short game, sinking putts as well. And often it's kind of finding, the hot guy. But you make a great point. Like this field, a full field with a cut. When we're talking about betting these tournaments, these are the ones that you sort of want, what you want to do. You like to be able to go and do a make the cut parlay. You like having that Friday round mean something. And the cut sweat at the end on Friday. I think it was this Bridgman that's just had these 2 unbelievable weeks, winning last week and contending the week before at Pebble Beach. If I'm not mistaken, his sort of coming out party was at this event last year after he graduated from the Corn Ferry. I did listen to a research pod last night to get ready for the show today. And they were looking at the the win potential. Another thing that I think sort of helps Brooks is that it looks like it's going to be pretty nice on Friday or on Thursday. There's the potential for the wind to kick up in the afternoon on Friday into the weekend. So I was noticing that Brooks had a late tee time on Thursday, which means that he'll be going earlier on Friday, which I think is something that is definitely a positive for him. And to your point, I mean, do we want to? It's funny. I did see his numbers actually gone up. I think he was at like around 28, and I've seen him at 30s or 33s now. But looking at around 3-1 for a top 10, like that's something that I can sort of get behind in that. It'll be fun to follow. I'm sure he'll get some TV time, assuming that he's there on the weekend.
It's him and Lowry are the two big names.
Yeah.
So they're there. Those are the names they're going to kind of try to want to focus on.
This Ryan Gerard, and I don't know a lot about him, but he is now right there with
major favorite. Up there. It's on a lot of. I was reading a lot of sites, just trying to research myself, of what people are thinking going into this one, and there's a lot of people really high on him going into this one.
What give me the PA odds. Like, what are you looking at right now for sort of the top group?
So Shane Lowry 14-1 plus 1400. Ryan Gerard 16-1. Nikolai Hogard almost 21-1. Rasmus Hogard, who I believe is his brother, is about 2150. Then you got Michael Forbjornsen, 23-1. Keith Mitchell 25-1. Brooks is is 28-1. Aaron Ray's 31-1. So is Daniel Berger, and then it goes from there. For just the top 10 for Brooks, it's plus 335 right there on Play Alberta for him for that one. But those are your top ones for winning this tournament. Yes, Shane Lowry, Ryan Gerard are the top two right there at 14 and 16-1 respectively.
Berger is another intriguing guy in that I don't even think he was in the field and he got added in.
He was the last late minute addition. He
is another Florida guy that knows the course very, very well. And Berger, I mean, listen, at one point, Berger was, a top 5 player in the world or so. In the last few years, he's sort of taken back, but he did make big steps forward last year after sort of bottoming out. I can't remember if there was injury or not that really cost him. So he's actually, to me, a pretty intriguing name. I will say of the Hoygards, who were immensely talented, Rasmus has some of the best numbers of putting on I believe it's Bermuda greens, in the field. So for what that's worth, I mean, if you want to go to, rounds over the last couple of years, play it on this, he has been really good on that. So I do think, both of those guys I think are live.
Well, I'm high on his brother, Nikolai. He's had a pretty good season. He was T3 at Waste Management, and then at in Dubai on the European Tour, he was T4. So he has 2 top 5s in I think 4 events this season amongst the 2. And then when it comes to him, he is a guy that is a good ball striker, and he sits 7th in approach strokes gained. So like if you're just looking to save you don't have to be the best putter if you're putting yourself in a really good spot with your approaches in a sense there. I do really like the way he's been playing, his form as of late, and then just the type of player he is. I think he will suit it here. For me, when I'm looking at just an outright winner, and the talking, it was plus 2075 for him, almost 21-1 right there. He's a guy that he'd be my pick if I'm putting some a couple bucks down on the winner. He's my outright favorite to go win this one because I think playing well in some big events, he's played well. And then I think just with the skills that he has as a ball striker and his approaching, I think that's going to play well going into this tournament.
Lowry, who's right there as the favorite or co-favorite, he has done well with this at this tournament.
He certainly has.
And that's kind of why he was there. I did watch him. It was actually kind of funny. So he's on the Boston team, no, the Bay team for the TGL, and so he's back home. I'm sure he, like most of those guys, lives in Florida, so that's why it's cool. It's not too far away for them to go and do this. So he had to play last night, and it was his daughter's birthday. So they brought all of these like 7-8-year-old girls and had their birthday party at the TGL event. And Shane's there coming over from the thing with the big cake, and they're all having fun. And he ended up being, he was a little off of it. I don't know if you can really take anything from hitting into a golf sim, as cool as it looks, like how that pertains to a PGA Tour event the next day on an actual course.
Well, actually, as you said that, I'm wondering if there's numbers and stats of just how players have performed who've done a TGL event and then went to a tournament, and how their tournament performance was.
There will be soon. See, the big thing is the timing of all of these, and like they put them now, and now this is sort of the meat of the TGL schedule and going in. I know they were talking about teams clinching playoffs and whatnot last night. Because obviously when you don't have the travel, I was wondering, and I did go 3-1 in my TGL bets. We got yesterday. I don't know, like the computer told me I was the Bay fan, and I went against them in the first game yesterday, and they were immediately up 3-0 after 3 holes, almost blew it. But they came back. But I did get the other ones. The reason why I went against the Boston team, the one before, is that I'm thinking like, okay, like Rory flying like right after finishing second on the West Coast, all the way across the country. He was asked about it. He said he said they had a big jet stream behind them. They were only in the air for like 4 hours from California to there. He said he got home at about midnight, got to sleep in his own bed, took Poppy to school, and then was there and was feeling quite good. But I would imagine that there'll be maybe a few players that you can grab a trend from. Again, it's so early. Most of these guys have played maybe twice, 3 times on it. It was,
but cool, I'm also wondering from last year if there's any like data that anyone has.
There were so few events.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I think assuming this thing continues to grow and move forward, I would suggest that maybe in 2 or 3 years we'll have a couple trends, or maybe a couple guys that you can maybe tell like, oh, he was really good then and then pop big time. But it's neat. You know what fascinates me about the TGL? And there was I guess on Monday night they had a technical thing that happened. Like all the lights came on and they said, oh, we're going to take a quick timeout. And they came back. They said, we've got a quick technical issue we're just fixing. We'll be back in a minute. And I guess they've got some pre-produced content that if they ever needed it, they would use it. And it was with the course designers. And, some of these guys are like top course designers for, the top courses in North America or maybe the world. And then combining that with the technology that you can do in the TGL that you could never do on a real golf course. And some of the holes that they have right now are absolutely wild. There's the one that's called the what's the golf shot that it's really the stinger. Got the stinger, and basically you're teeing off and there's like this cliff that comes in front, and the guys are hitting it at 2 and 3 degrees of loft off the tee. And they're so good. They're still getting it 270 yards out there. There's one, the last hole that they just debuted this week, they played the last 2 days, is the cavern. And you're basically in this sort of cavern, and they've got these big, they talked about this. They're not stalagmites, they're stalactites. I guess stalagmites grow from the ground up. These are the ones that come down. But you've got these weird obstacles that would never normally be in an actual golf course. So it's sort of fascinating as technology continues to get better. I actually think there's a real possibility that this becomes something fun, and it is definitely fun to bet on. I can tell you that from personal experience.
I know from last year, because I keep forgetting that it's on. But somebody brought up an idea of like doing a listener designed hole each week. Like have listeners design something. Like you could do it in the off season. Everyone submits and then pick one listener submission each week and add it to your event. That this is, hole number 9 is always going to be some sort of listener designed course, because you could do things that, you can't do out there. And there's a lot of people that could come up with something sort of creative, and do those things. Just back to the tournament too here. If I'm looking for a bit of possible value, I think Sam Ryder might be a guy to look at. It's on PA. Sam Ryder, where is he on here? Is he not even on this list right now? Is he in the event?
Ryder. I'm seeing Ryder at 100-1.
Okay, yeah, so he's there. I'll have to get that one up, because the thing about him is he's got a couple of good finishes at this event. He had his T9, T8, so he's got two T10s at the event in the past. He's also currently in 2026, he's third in this field when it comes to strokes gained on approaches and in putting. So amongst everyone out there, he's third when it comes to two very important statistics. So if you're just looking for some sort of value play here to get a little something, I think Sam Ryder might be one of those guys to look on. It's unless it's Scotty to a degree. The favorite, it's sometimes hard. How do you think Shane Lowry is going to perform this weekend?
I mean, listen, I think I'm not going to bet him to win at the number that he's at. If you wanted to lay him down as a top 10 or a top 20 or as part of a parlay, I mean, I think I could get behind that. But this tournament, like, I just have a feeling that this is the one where you say you would normally spend 5 units, whatever. Say you normally throw $10 or say you normally put $50 on an event, and you might be putting 20 on your best bet and a couple other $15 bets. To me, this is the tournament that you kind of use the bankroll a little differently. And you go lower down the board and fire a few long shots on it, because it seems like it's as wide open a field as we've had at any point recently on the PGA Tour. The fact that the course is no longer the dragon that really eliminates a lot of guys right out the bat. I think that there is the possibility of somebody getting really hot and having a great event. So, I mean, the hundreds, the 125, sometimes you don't even look at. Like, I could stand to throw a fiver down on a Neil Shipley at 125, or there's a few Canadians in this event too that we should actually mention too. Mac Hughes is really interesting in that, he lost. Was it in a playoff that he lost this event? I think to Sung J M, or like on the final hole. Pretty sure he had a second about 3 years ago at this course, and again, playing more difficult at that time. But Hughes is in the field. Another guy that's really interesting, that's intriguing, that maybe I'll drop one, and I'm seeing about 100-1 here. That kid, that Blades Brown, that almost had the 59 in the first tournament. I should check in. I think he's a Florida guy, and often, a little bit of a familiarity. Billy Ho, another Florida guy. Seeing him at 80-1. He was just playing with Atlanta in the TGL on the weekend, and he lamented some of the course changes, but this is an event that's big to him. I see Mac Hughes at 66.
I think Adam Hadwin's first event of the year.
Well, I was just about to bring up Adam Hadwin, and you know what? Do you see Hadwin? I haven't seen him on this list yet, and I don't know. Maybe we just have to go way down.
plus 14,400. So almost 14, a little better than 140 to 1.
Oh, nice.
140 to 1, I guess.
Oh, that's great. That's a great number there. I'm seeing 125. So, but I mean, a guy like Hadwin, who has great experience on the PGA Tour, he lost his card. Like, he's not in to most of these events. I mean, a massive week for Hadwin would be, I mean, it would change everything for him. I mean, if he could go in, like, if he could just get a win. I think this is a Masters, like, you get a Masters invite too in this one, right?
I could look. I would assume so.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I think you would. It's not like...
No, I think it's any PGA would get you in.
Yeah, there's a couple of events that don't. Like, I don't think the Puerto Rico Open...
No.
The Mexico one that Tony Finau always plays in, that one doesn't have one. But absolutely. So I'm gonna put like a Finn or something on a couple of these younger guys like Shipley, Clanton, Blades Brown, and then up around the top. I wouldn't mind though if you wanted to put something together. If we're gonna look at top 10s, top 20s, for both Højgaards. Have both Højgaards on it.
Top 10?
Top 10 is tough.
Or both top 20s?
Yeah, I think maybe if we're going to pick 3 or 4 guys, we go top 20s. And
well, do we take those two and throw Brooks in there?
Yeah.
For 3 top 20s?
I love it. Let's just see what they're...
Also, I'll just say on Hadwin, also with Play Alberta, plus 335 to be the top Canadian. Which isn't bad either. You know? Mackenzie Hughes is 185 plus 185. Hadwin's plus 335. You know that there's that situation there where maybe that's the play even with Hadwin too is throwing him as the top Canadian in this event.
Yes, you know what, I love that, and I think I'm going to. Let's just see. You got to go way down, but I mean, I think our still like if we go with the 2 Højgaards for top 20s, like it's not really chalky numbers. Like Rasmus, I'm looking at plus 110, Højgaard minus 105, Brooks is plus 130. We'll still get a pretty nice number on
you
those.
Throw that all together. It's a nice little bet.
Absolutely.
I love that one.
Now we head down. Yeah, Hadwin like 4.25 for a top 20. A big Hadwin fan. Svenny, Adam Svensson spends a lot of time down in Florida. He's another guy that really needs a good result. Like this is such a big tournament for that next level of player on the PGA Tour. I'm really looking forward to this one. But yeah, Svenny's at 5 to 1. But you know what? Listen, I'm may have to somehow find a way to get out on that Hadwin top Canadian as well, because I think he's going to be locked, loaded, ready to go, and incredibly motivated to come up with a big event. He had his 59. I think that was at Copperhead. It was definitely one of the Florida courses. I don't think it's this one. It wouldn't have been before in the old Honda days.
2017 career builder challenge. Does it say where? La Quinta. Might have been La Quinta.
Okay, not sure about that one, but
which is out in California.
Anyways, we're gonna be pulling for Hads. But I do like that. The Højgaard boys and Brooks, top 20.
Top 20. We'll throw that up with a boost over an EST specials on Play Alberta. We got Huss, we got Awanik here on the Lock Shop here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Let's transition. The NHL's back. We've got 8 games on the slate, including the Jets, including the Oilers. And before you jumped on the show, I was just throwing out there and saying to the listeners, I'm struggling looking at this slate here because it feels like it's the start of an NHL season all over again. And on opening night, you just never know with the upsets that are coming. And then there's the guys that are coming over from Italy, especially the Canadian and American players. How many of them are going to jump in and be in the lineup right away? And there's just like, I know we had an Avs guest on the station yesterday, and she was saying that you might not have McKinnon, McCarr, and Taves ready to go going up against Utah. They'll be ready to go tomorrow when they host the Wild. So it does throw some things a little out there, but we'll start with the Jets at the very least. Who's going to be there for the Jets, and what do you make of the Jets in Vancouver later tonight?
Well, the guy that is there that I think surprised everyone from being at practice yesterday was Kyle Connor. No one could believe it. I mean, I don't know whether he was at the big party at 11 in Miami once they got back, but he was somehow able to get to Winnipeg, Manitoba and the Canada Life Center for 10:30 yesterday morning. And I kind of feel like I think he was pretty dejected, obviously, with the way the tournament went, was very happy that his team won. And, he's an Olympic gold medalist, but I think has a bit of a sour taste in his mouth after, playing the first two games, coming out of the lineup and then never seeing the ice again. For two guys on a gold medal winning team, the experience of the Olympics couldn't be much different between Hellebuck and Kyle Connor. So he's going to be in the lineup tonight, which certainly, if you're not part of Team Tank for the Jets, you're happy that he's going to be there. They've got big defense issues right now. I mean, that's the issue. I mean, they're not going to have Hellebuck in net. Comrie will start, although he's, for the most part, it's been very good when he's been in. But their top two defensemen, Josh Morrissey and Neil Pionk, are both out. We're going to see Ville Heinola for the first time this season. And maybe in the most incredible opportunity to showcase a player ahead of the trade deadline. Logan Stanley's had this breakout season and he scored all these goals. Stan is in Josh Morrissey's place, playing with Dylan DeMello tonight on what will be the one pair, the two pair. Sandberg and Salamonson will play a ton as well. But Stan is going to get his opportunity to play a lot, and he'll be the quarterback on the top power play. So I think that there might be some value. The problem is he never shows up on any of the prop lists. Like he has historically been such an obscure player that plays so little. Like he's not usually an option. But if you're looking at a Jet side of things, like what do you have the money line for this game at, Matt?
Jets minus 128. Vancouver plus 110. 6.5 for the over under.
Yeah, I would suggest that the Jets will come out. Now, listen, not a lot of people outside that room think that they have any chance. But you are starting the first game after a break against the worst team in the league. And your forward group is pretty much intact. I will say that Kyle Connor, I think, is probably going to look to have a great, and part of the reason why he said yesterday, like everyone was trying to get him to say something even remotely political, why he wasn't there. And he's like, hey, you know what? I haven't played the last little bit. I want to get back. I've got a game tomorrow. I want to be there. So, I mean, I'm going to look for a Kyle Connor goal prop in this one. And, if there's any possibility, if you see any books that have a Stanley, you want to take a run on that, or even a point, I think for Stan is probably something that would be worthwhile. And at minus 128, minus 130, I mean, the Canucks are built to lose right now.
Yeah.
No one would be too upset if Jets did lose, basically based on where they're at right now. But I think at least in that room, as much as some fans won't like it, They feel they're a hell of a lot better than where they are right now. And here's interesting. This is something maybe just to take a look at over the course of the next week and a half. Jonathan Toews has had some real ups and downs so far this season. He had a nice start to the season. He was awesome coming out of the Christmas break. When the games and everything kind of pile up, we've seen a bit of a drop off on him. And, at his age and the amount of time he's been off, that probably shouldn't surprise anyone. But keep an eye on Toews from a prop perspective for the next 2 weeks at least.
Coming in fresh, he's been good this season. So this is another 2.5 week break.
And he just said, a lot of people thought that he'd be a guy that the Jets might trade. It's a 1-year deal. They've paid the bonuses. It's a $2 million salary. I mean, he'd be very much able to get in to most top teams that are pressed for cap, their spot. Obviously, still, I think he's number 2 in faceoffs in the league, which coaches feel are very, very important, especially at the playoffs. But he said he doesn't want to go anywhere. So he's got a full no move and said very clearly in a one-on-one with our pal Murat Atesh of The Athletic yesterday, that, he came here, he wants to be here. It sounds like he wants to continue for another year. And I'm sure they'll look to do that. They just can't put all those eggs in that one basket because, the second line, for the most part, when Toews was leading the way there at the second line center was, the production just simply wasn't there. It wasn't even close. So Toews will be interesting moving forward over the next little bit. But for tonight, I like Kyle Connor to score. I think the Jets probably win this game. Ducks Oilers. All like McDavid's back.
That's the question mark. He flew in yesterday, and the question is whether he'll play tonight or not, or take a day to just get a little bit more juice in the tank to get going. They're on the ice in just under an hour out in Anaheim, so we're going to get a little bit more clarity on his status. So we'll see whether he's in the lineup or not. But these are very interesting. Like I went through a scenario, a worst case almost for the Oilers, where all of a sudden after tonight, the Kraken and the Ducks would be ahead of them. The Mammoth would be ahead of them, and the Oilers could drop to second wildcard spot just after tonight if things just go absolutely terribly wrong for them. They have 3, when the schedule first came out, you looked at the Olympic break, you went Anaheim, LA, San Jose, awesome. This is a team that has a very rough start usually coming out of breaks. That's a perfect way for the Oilers to go. As the season has progressed, it's like, oh boy, these are massive 4-point games that are coming out, and there's no room for error almost in this one. Because next week it's Ottawa, then Carolina. And then after the deadline, the Oilers' first 3 games after the deadline is Vegas, Colorado, Dallas, all on the road. So some very tough schedule for the Edmonton Oilers coming up here. It's hard not to think that McDavid would be a guy that's just like, I want to go play. He's not a guy that generally sits there and goes, yeah, I could use an extra day or something like that. So I would assume he'd be in the lineup. But this is Duck teams that have beat the Oilers, have played them well this season. This is going to be a tight one. And historically, just this Oilers organized team just doesn't do well coming out of breaks. And I don't know if Paul Coffey on the bench is necessarily going to just change that immediately. So I think Oilers fans they've got to be nervous going into this one. They get a win, it puts them in a nice spot. It's a great start coming out of this. But if there's a loss going into tomorrow, where they're going to take on a Kings team who will be on the back end of a back-to-back themselves. They've got Panarin in the lineup now. We'll see how he performs, but they don't have Fiala. It's a very delicate time for the Edmonton Oilers, so it's going to be fascinating to see. And I know Pierre LeBrun said earlier today that it seems like a lot of teams just want to get to the weekend and then assess their trade deadline and what they want to go do. It's a fascinating time to just see, if the Oilers stumble, they don't have a lot they can do, but does it change what they want to go do in this one? Looking at the other games, I know Northside Sandwich, he had a couple, he had, where's the Northside side? Caps, Lightning, Stars, all in regulation tonight. The Capitals will hosting the Flyers. Logan Thompson will be a net for the Capitals in this one. It is a confirmed starter. I do like the Caps to come out strong in this one. Look, Ovi wasn't at the Olympics. Their goalie, while he was there, he's fresh. He only had 1 game. He'll be ready to go. And I know there's some issues with the Flyers. So I do like the Caps. To your point, there's a team that's just sitting outside the playoffs. they're going to want to get off to a hot start and grab some early points. And for them, they could look at the Flyers team and be like, maybe this is a team that they can jump on. I'm curious your thoughts on Kraken Dallas, because the Kraken are a team that are sitting right there, third in the Pacific, taking on a Stars team that are banged up right now. No Rantanen, no Sagan. I think Hintz might not be playing right for the start. Hernan mentioned a couple players that are out. Where do you come on Kraken Stars for tonight?
Listen, I've been waiting for the Kraken to fall off for a while. I just don't buy this team. Granted, I don't see a lot of them, but was not impressed when I saw them, live or when the Jets played them on the road. I think the Dallas Stars are just so much better of a team that I have a hard time. Now, with those situations, I think for me, it's sort of a stay away at the number that they're at with the question marks around it. Yeah, but normally I would basically look at that game as Dallas or nothing. And, often if I was playing that on a standalone, I'd probably look at maybe Dallas minus 1.5. But when you talk about the guys that are missing, starting with Rantanen, and they had a lot of Olympians. Now it's a little different for guys like the Finns that lost, although I guess they did play the bronze medal game.
Yeah, that was on Saturday.
Right there to the end. So yeah, for me, that's a stay away game. The one game I do love, and I'm resuming right where I left off before the break, is riding with the Buffalo Sabres. And the Sabres are in Jersey in this game. It's pretty much a pick 'em.
Yep.
I'm trying to find, they say they think Jack Hughes is going to play. Jack Hughes is going to be hungover. Jack Hughes is going to be, I'm not looking a lot. Now, Tage Thompson's probably in that same category. But the vibes are so positive around the Sabres with what they did in the past couple months. And the Devils are pretty much done. I love Buffalo in this spot tonight. The other thing, and I mean, now, especially with like these first games coming out of the break, huge games for teams like for Toronto, for instance, like Toronto's in Tampa. I know there's all this talk about does Austin Matthews play, and the optics, if he doesn't, are going to be, not
well,
good.
He left early. He wasn't there at the State of the Union. He left before that to meet the team. And Berube did say yesterday that he expects that Matthews will be playing.
Okay. Well, and you said I didn't hear that. Cooper's not on the bench tonight.
Yeah, just before we started the show, I saw a tweet that he personal leave, dealing with a personal matter. So hopefully everything's okay, but he won't be on the bench tonight for the Lightning.
I look at this one, and yeah, that's kind of a tough one. I mean, Leafs at plus 182 on the road.
That's what, like, just going into today, it's so difficult. It feels like there's just so many what ifs in these with the lineups and everything going about it coming out of these breaks. It's a fascinating day. We might have chaos in the schedule tonight.
Avalanche are only minus 123 against Utah.
But they might not have McKinnon, Makar, or Taves.
And is that the case? Like we don't.
Well, I'd have to go check. Like they'd be on the ice soon, I guess. Here, but we had a Megan Angley yesterday said that because they have a back-to-back, they're in Utah tonight. They're home to the Wild tomorrow. That there is maybe the thought that they'll rest tonight, take that extra day, be ready to go in that big game against the Wild tomorrow. That's where it's like, okay, it's close, but if you don't have McKinnon, Makar, and Taves, how confident are you then in the Colorado Avalanche going against Utah?
Not really. And I know Clayton Keller was part of the big party yesterday and last night.
Apparently John Cooper's dad passed away. That's the reports.
Oh, geez.
That sucks.
Too bad. That's too bad. By the way, while we're at it, just because you can get in on futures before everything drops, I saw a plus 150 on John Cooper for Coach of the Year. I think he is a lock to win that this year, Matt.
Here, I have an issue with the Jack Adams because it's awarded generally. It's not awarded to the best coach. It's awarded to the guy who did the job that no one was expecting. which team had the best improvement or surprised us in where they finished, and we then give them the award. Like John Cooper, I think, was a finalist once. You can't tell me in his whole career he's never been the best coach. I really hope he gets one because he deserves it, because he is just a damn good coach. I think right now it'd be between him and Bednar, depending on if the Avs continue going in this one. But at some point,
Lindy Ruff, and this goes back to you. Like,
yeah,
who will be there? But I mean, listen, like it's almost the law of averages. Finally, Buffalo was going to get on a roll. I mean, it's been 14 years or whatever it's been. But I'm with you. I just think that John Cooper, this is going to be somewhat of a lifetime achievement award for him. He's got the support of everyone. Now, if he had won the gold medal, which is funny because that's not part of the NHL, I still think that would affect people. But listen, you can't say anything. Like, I haven't heard anyone give Cooper a hard time about the way that he handled things. They should have won that game 9 or 10 times. They do. They got goalied. But yeah, Coop at plus 150. If you want to jump on that before everything goes off the board, I would love that. The other thing, McDavid to win the Art Ross is still plus money. I mean, if you're gonna give me Connor McDavid and I think he's got a 3-point lead right now. I mean, I will happily jump on that. And then the other one that's really interesting to me, I was talking about this with Glue Guy yesterday, interested where you sit on it. Werenski and Makar is a pick'em right now, both minus 110 to win the Norris. Everyone else is way down the list. If the Blue Jackets make the play, here's 2 predictions. If the Blue Jackets make the playoffs, Werenski gets the Norris. And if the Sharks make the playoffs, I think Celebrini gets the Hart.
Yeah, I know that the Jay got them combined and boosted together.
Yeah, it was a crazy one. It's like 50-1.
It's just hard for me to go against a McKinnon or a McDavid Hart.
Listen,
that's where I'm thinking of the voters are going to come from. It's hard.
I think there's voter fatigue on those guys. Like, I think that actually plays into Celebrini's hand. Like, such a great story this year, taking a team from nothing to being a playoff team. He's right there in the scoring as well. Like, if you're talking about the definition of the award, most valuable player, I think the people will be jumping over themselves for a reason not to vote for one of the guys they voted for the last 5 years.
That's giving credit to people for doing due diligence almost in a way for their vote. I think there is also just a level of some, and more notably down south, that are just the lazy ones and look at this. They won't look at the standings. They'll look at points. But to the definition of the Hart, which is most valuable to your team, that would be a good reason for it. With Celebrini, if he drags the Sharks to a playoff spot, there's a lot of validity to that one. I got to let you go right away to WST, but what do you think of a Cap Sabres money line parlay?
Let's do it. What do we have? Caps are in.
They're home. They're home to the Flyers. Sabres in New Jersey taking on the Devils, plus 218 before a boost. A nice little 2-legger.
Absolutely. Do we want to add a third game or just?
For me personally, I'm scared about the schedule. Those are the 2 I feel very good on, and the rest, I'm nervous just because of the whole restart.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think we're probably well off to just chill on that. So yeah, let's do that. Buffalo and Washington. I will ride with you. I will ride with you on that.
What's coming up on WST?
Well, it's a big Presidential Medal of Freedom celebration show, Matt. Well, I don't know. We're going to head out. We're going to have a fun conversation with Matt Sakaris in Vancouver. Mike McIntyre is going to join us, kind of recapping his Olympic experience. And Connor Rabchak, our own Connor, is actually in Vancouver at the game. He's going to be at the skate. So he'll join us because of the time zone, time change later on in the program with the latest from the skate lineup for tonight. And then we get ready to drop the puck.
Huss, appreciate it. Enjoy WST. Glue Guy back with you tomorrow.
Let's go. Hoygaards and Brooks, top 20s.
Damn
Catch
right.
one.
There's Haas, catch him and Remus on WST on their YouTube channel coming up in a few minutes. As he said, we'll get that top 20 up parlay at EST Specials. We'll also throw up Flyers and the Sabres moneyline parlay over at EST. We got Oil Stream, Tommy and Reed coming up next. Oilers on the ice in about 35 minutes, so we'll get a little more clarity on McDavid. Is he in or is he out? EST Afternoons, myself and Coob at 1 o'clock. Then Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne coming up 3 until 6 today. GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show back tonight. Tommy, Benny, Cass, they'll get you set for Oilers and Ducks. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta. On behalf of us, I'm Awanik. Thanks for tuning in. Oil Stream in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere.